Welcome back, guys. I'm your host, Joshua Montero. I have my co-host here, Diego Zaniga, to my right, back for another episode. This is third podcast talking basketball. Really excited of having him on. A lot of good NBA season games. We're still marveling over Anthony Edwards' performance against the Celtics. We'll get more info on that later in the podcast, but in fact, Diego's watching the game right now
Yeah, sorry.
to
He just
see
made
what
a
he
crazy
noticed.
shot.
Anything you could add to the podcast. But Diego, how you doing? What's going on?
I'm doing pretty good. Reading a good book of self development book. Really been making me feel amazing. I'm on my grind right now. So excited. I'm excited to do this podcast. So let's get into it.
See him on the court shortly. He's working on his grind.
Yeah,
He's a really good basketball player, guys. I can attest to that. So
yeah. All I'm
um,
gonna say is yesterday we played a 4-on-5 because we none of our guys wanted to play and one of our guys was injured and we kind of just messed around. I hit it. I was just standing here and I just hit a shot like that from deep in a guy's face. That was definitely something.
I
So
believe it. He takes the worst contested shots I've ever seen, but it goes in every time. I can never
yeah,
explain it, but
I'm a proponent of the mid-range shot now. It
yeah.
is it is just my
Are you
addiction.
now?
I
Okay.
love the mid-range. It's
Yeah,
nice.
completely different from how I played it, but there you go. Learn something new about Diego every day. Um,
Perfect.
but welcome back, guys. We're gonna be talking about a bunch of NBA games we saw over the past week. Mostly Diego, but we do have some topics we do want to cover, like as we're watching the season unfold. Again, still early in the season, so a lot of new changes to look at. But what have you thought about the NBA in season tournament? I think it's an interesting take that they're moving forward with, like at least for this season. But want to get your insights on that.
No, yeah. So I think we talked about it last week, but I think it's nice because it's definitely kind of making it similar to soccer for me. And that's how they kind of run tournaments. They have group play, then elimination, and then a championship. And so that's kind of an interesting parallel. But I also think it's interesting just because these are competitive games. In the first night, four of those five games were within one possession in the last minute. And then on this tweet I saw, it said, but the game that wasn't was a Wizards game. So really, 100% of them that you'd expect to be close games were close games. So it was okay. And the big thing, like everyone's talking about, is the courts. And like I'm not too against them. I mean, they look like a court I would make as like a 10-year-old on NBA 2K. And like all I'm saying is my court might have been better, but they're definitely getting people to talk, and people are really interested, and that's kind of what they wanted. This is something for their. It's a big thing because with the brand deal, or not the brand deals, the cable, like the TV streaming deals that they're trying to get the NBA, they want people talking. They want eyes on the NBA, so they can go to the companies and be like, our product is worth so much. You should pay us for this a lot. You should pay a lot of money for this, and that's kind of their goal. And it looks like it's working. So we'll see. We'll see. This Friday is the next one. Not today because I'm kind of voting. So that's good.
Yeah, no games on today, unfortunately, or we'd have some on for you
Yeah,
to get some updates on. But yeah, I mean, honestly, during this time of the NBA season, I'm kind of more focused on football just because you're right in the thick of it, like
yeah,
halfway through the season to the playoffs. And then I usually tune in the NBA. I want to say maybe around the All Star break or afterwards because that's when you'll get to see like the serious
no,
teams and people competing for standings. But like, I tuned into the Bulls and Nets game.
mm,
And admittedly, I felt bad about it at the end because Zach Levine could have hit the three to win the game. But like, I just noticed the color of the courts, and I'm like, whoa, this is different. I've never seen the United Center painted red before. I was like, what is
yeah,
going on? And I enjoyed it though. I thought it was good. Good for the game. I think this will incentivize players like obviously like James Harden, Bradley Beal, those types of players. It's tough. It's tough for
yeah,
them to like make it in time to like make an impact on these group elimination games. But it incentivizes the coaches at least to like play their best players and then like eliminate that need for basically resting your players on off nights because of a long season. So it kind of breaks the monotony of having just 82 game stretch. I like it. We'll see if it's here to stay as we get deeper in the group play, but it's a good move for them. All right. What do you got on the Bucks and Knicks? I've heard that was an exciting game, but wanted to get your
cool.
thoughts on anything you noticed.
Yeah, so let me just go through my notes. All right, Bucks next. So I think the biggest thing is that Jalen Brunson was just absolutely cooking this game. He was on a crazy heater. I think he dropped like 45 points. He could not miss. He's driving in the paint. And I think the biggest thing about him is he's like 6'3", and he's making all of these like inside the paint shots, getting a foot in the paint, kind of stepping back. He's doing some things that you just could not imagine from a guy his size. His shiftiness and just his ability, his ball handling is through the roof. And like I'm kind of mad the Mavs don't have him anymore, but I'm happy he's doing all right. Like he's kind of got his team, and the Knicks really needed him because even though they lost, Julius Randle kind of laid an egg. It wasn't looking that good. He hasn't been looking good this season, and I don't know. I kind of hope like I kind of subscribe to the fact that the NBA is better when the Knicks are good, but I'm like I don't want them to be too good. But like I think the whole time that they weren't good was kind of tough, and now they're kind of like into something. So it's interesting. And then I think the biggest thing for the Bucks at least is that the whole game up until like 2 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I was just thinking, where's the Dame Giannis pick and roll? Like it just felt like their offense was so stagnant. And yeah, you have Dame, so less to worry about on offense. But this is a big problem for the Bucks. They need to be able to mesh, get some chemistry, and have an elite offense to really because that's what you're missing now without Drew Holiday. So I think that's a big thing. I really have it in caps here on my note. Not a lot of Dame Giannis pick and roll. Josh Hart, he had like I think 8 rebounds at least as a three guard that's like 6'5", playing the
That's
four at
really
times.
impressive. Yeah.
I think he's guarding Giannis at times. He's kind of cooking in that sense. He couldn't make a three though, which didn't help my fantasy team. But whatever, we're just gonna move on from that one. Um, but then I think a big thing too is Hart also has some steals. The big thing, the Knicks themselves are a defensive team. They Brunson is basically their whole offense, and once the other team kind of trains on Brunson, then someone's open. Boom, Quentin Grimes, Josh Hart, Emmanuel quickly, six man of the year candidate. Like in the conversation right now, there's not really candidates. We're too
In my
early.
opinion, he needs more minutes. Like I wouldn't mind playing him and Brunson as a starter because quickly can make quick decisions, no pun intended.
Yeah, and he's very fast, which
He
quick.
gives you that dynamicism, whereas like
Yeah.
Brunson's kind of like he's very like surgical when he gets into
Hmm.
the paint and like gets into his floater game, step back, like that area.
Hmm.
So like I think you would have like more of an offensive dynamic between those two if you had those. Just a
No,
little point
yeah,
out there.
that's interesting. I don't. Who are they starting now? I feel like I don't really
Don't know. I
know.
haven't watched any Knicks games this year. Um, let's look at their starting lineup real quick.
Yeah, I feel sorry for whoever this point guard is because like
It's
he must.
Brunson, isn't it?
I guess Brunson is the point guard.
So, like, I was thinking, like, it right now the starting lineup is Brunson, Grimes, Barrett,
Grimes
Randall, and
interesting.
Robinson, right? So, like, it's
Hmm.
kind of like, oh, do you want to start Josh Hart instead of Quentin Grimes or like Manu quickly instead of Quentin Grimes? Like,
Yeah.
they got a good like 7 to 8 guys if you include like DiVincenzo or like Hardenstein, but
Hmm.
like it's like I would explore like maybe putting in quickly instead of Grimes and seeing what that looks like because you may not get as much as the 3-point shooting as you're looking for, but you're gonna get a lot more like playmaking where the ball is gonna be moving around, and I think that's gonna generate better looks for Robinson and Randall. Like, just I'm just looking at the box score of Randall's last game, 5 for 20. That is not gonna get it done. Like, I
So
think a lot of like when I watch him sometimes, like he just ISOs and this looks very stagnant. Where it's just like you could tell when he's about to shoot a three, and then like it's kind of like you're not really moving the defense side to side.
yeah, he's just been struggling this year. I hope he kind of finds his rhythm. But yeah, that's an interesting point though. Because especially Josh Hart, he's been I feel like a starter caliber player for his time in LA, for his stint in New Orleans. I don't know much about his time in Portland because I feel like it was pretty short. But now he's really excited to play in New York because he's like from around there, East Coast guy, Villanova guy, on a team with three other Villanova guys. So
Yeah,
I think I think he could be a starter, but then I think Tibbs just likes him on the bench because he's a guy that he's gonna provide. He's gonna produce for your team,
he's the
rebound,
Jimmy
steals,
Butler on that team right now.
yeah,
Not in like
scoring
impact on
wise.
the team, but kind of well, I defensive impact, yes, but not
Yeah.
like overall impact. Like
Hmm.
the Jimmy Butler we think of now, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when when
young,
Tibbs would always
old.
need like a Luol Deng or like a Jimmy Butler, like that kind of player. That's of Josh Hart. Like
Hmm.
he's your defensive ace, and it's kind of like the team seems like Tibbs wants to keep him in his back pocket.
Yeah, but nothing against Quentin Grimes because he like watching him in that series against the Heat. The one game he was guarding Jimmy Butler, he literally fell on the floor injured. Like he actually had something wrong with his like leg. He gets up and he guards Jimmy Butler for a possession while he's like grimacing in pain. That is something that like you
Wow.
don't see a lot in this league today, and I'm happy it's like nothing against Quentin Grimes. He's a dog. But yeah, that's one other thing I want to say is Giannis actually made three threes in this game. He was 3 for 3 on his threes,
Wow.
and that
Okay.
is
Cool.
exactly. It's like oh, like kind of scary, but
Like we talked about this. We are like, okay, Giannis, now you don't have to focus on shooting the threes. Like,
yeah, like
but okay, add a bonus there, I guess.
yeah, that's something. And then one big part of what kind of gave the Bucks a lot of momentum, I think it was in the second quarter, was so it was Beauchamp and Jay Crowder were in, and on for
Okay.
four straight possessions, they get 12 points off corner threes on both sides for them.
Wow.
So and that was just crazy. I mean, Beauchamp is young, and Jay Crowder is just
But
doing his
that's what
thing.
Jay Crowder like specialized, like catch and
Yeah,
shoot. Like he can give that to an offense.
yeah, no, he that's what he'll do. Open three, he's gonna drain it. And he's been on a lot of good teams, but he hasn't really had that chance with the Milwaukee so far after last year. So yeah, we'll see. I don't really
I
have
mean,
much
the one
else.
other note I think that wasn't mentioned, I would probably add is like Lopez just quietly had like 8 blocks. So he's back to defensive form, I guess.
Yeah, no, he's doing his thing. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. Like what we're seeing now from the Bucks is not what it's going to be in 3 4 months. They need to
Oh, absolutely.
offensively at least. They still
Yes.
need to gel. It needs to come together. And on the defensive end a little bit too. But that's I don't think that's as big of a problem. They just need to be above average or just average on defense, and just Dame Giannis offense has to be on some other level, which I think they can find.
I mean, yeah, I think the Damon Giannis thing is kind of like what I'm hoping gets resolved where Jalen Brown and like Jason Tatum knew how to play
Hmm.
together, and like what I'm
Yeah,
hoping like Zach Levine and DeMar DeRozan can do, like
yeah.
over the course of like working together. Like that's a common thing when you have like two stars. I Dame and Giannis have the attitude to get it done.
Oh yeah.
For me, like I'm confident they can. It's just like a timing thing. Like when is that going to happen? We don't know. I think it's going to be 2 to 3 months from now. Defensively, I think one strategy that will help them is like you got like two bigs on defense, and Lopez and Giannis will just block
Hmm.
the heck out of anything that comes within like their radius or their signal network
Hmm.
almost. So like
Yeah.
for the other guys, like Middleton, like Dame, it's kind of just like run those guys off the three, funnel them into Giannis and Lopez,
Hmm.
and work together that way instead of like trying to set up and prove you're a great one-on-one defender.
Yeah,
Like
and
I think though that will help them out tremendously because now you're forcing the defense like to drive and not kick,
hmm
and they're stuck once they drive because then they're like, oh wait, they're not collapsing because they have Giannis or Lopez about to block me. So
yeah.
there's a two-sided edge to that, but that would help like at least like the guards and learning how to play defense there.
No, yeah, that's been their strategy for years. Just what was it? It's not funnel. Oh, it's on like a pick and roll. Brooke Lopez
Right,
drop, and you just
right,
like you just let the guard just go to Brooke Lopez. Brooke Lopez will figure it out, and from
right.
there we'll all figure it out. But Brooke Lopez is the mainstay of that defense. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think they should be too worried.
All right, cool. Let's talk about the Spurs and the Suns.
Oh yes.
That was I was not expecting what I've seen from the Spurs, but like talk to me on what you saw.
Yeah, I mean, first, I didn't watch the first game because it was a two game Halloween, November 2nd kind of matchup for them,
Right.
and really scary for the Suns in the first game. They kind of had the game. The Spurs kind of come back. Wemby, not boxed out by KD, just gets an easy dunk to. I think they're down by one at that point. The Spurs. Then KD gets inbounds the ball. Keldon Johnson out of nowhere strips it away, lays it up.
That was
Spurs
absolutely
up by
wild.
one. Suns can't make the shot on the other end to end the game, and that's it. That's a crazy way to lose. And you would think, oh, and the next game they have Booker back, but within a quarter, let me see if I can find the score because I know for a fact. So okay, I don't have in the first quarter, but for up by 25 with 8 seconds left in the second quarter for the Spurs is crazy. A team of all young guys. I mean, your oldest guys like Zach Collins or Chetty Osman, like they're
Oh my goodness.
cooking the Suns by 25. I think the max lead was 27, and so it kind of
Yep.
Devin Booker was doing his thing. I mean, he's assisting, kind of playing that point guard role, which I like, and I like his shots. I don't really love him, but that's aside from the point. He was in the second half. The Suns turned it on. They kept coming and coming back. I was sitting there watching, just thinking the Suns have to do something. If they're a serious team, they're not just gonna lay down and just let this game go. And they didn't. They tied it up at one point, and it got interesting. But I I just couldn't believe I thought the Suns had it, and Wemby comes out and hits a pull up 3-pointer. A 19-year-old kid. I don't think he weighs more than 200 pounds, and he's
Yeah,
hitting this
KD,
three
KD.
pointer. Yeah, and just just a crazy game. Had me speechless. Had me staying up real late. I It was worth it for me. It was a perfect game, and I'm proud of Wemby. 38 points, 10 rebounds. This is just not something you see from a 19-year-old, and it's scary.
Yeah, I mean, we had just talked about it last week, saying keep your expectations on Webby tempered. I think he erased all doubts of that already, which is absolutely wild. Like he's like
Hmm.
a generational player already so far. Knock on wood, he stays healthy, and like we get
Yeah.
to see the rest of this because this is crazy. Like this is like what we were hoping from like Zion, like when he got on the Pelicans, and
Uh-uh.
Wemby's already like making the number one pick look like a bargain, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Suns tied it up at 116 with a little over 4 minutes to go. And then like the Spurs just scored the next 12 points. 10 of them were for Wembanyama. I really like his attitude too as a
Hmm.
rookie. Like you could tell like he's in the Popovich system when he says like, "Oh, every game we try to find the sweet spot where we need to hurt him. Today it might be this way, tomorrow it might be someone else." It's how great teams work. That's a great attitude to have because like a lot of young guys, like when you're picked with a number one pick, um,
Just
like you think you're him and you're the I
yeah.
mean, Wemby is him, but like he doesn't go out and tell the public and his teammates by extension like wait, yeah, just give me the ball and get out of the way. Like he's not telling them that. He's like, hey, it might be me, it might be somebody else. And they got great players there. We just talked about Keldon Johnson. Keldon Johnson is
Hmm.
one of my favorite like unsung players to watch in the NBA. I just love the way he plays on both ends of the floor. Um, but it's like you talk about it. They start off on a great run, 13 zip. Like Suns are missing all their shots, and like they're not playing sloppy. It's like how typical Spurs, like when they had all their stars, like back in the day, they played really well. Like when they're playing mistake free, and you just seen like okay, this is the potential of Webaniah if he puts it all together, and he's already doing that.
Yeah. No, his potential is astronomical right now, and it is. I can't. I can't like contemplate what it's gonna be like in 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years. Who
Especially as he
knows?
puts in more weight, like
Hmm.
more weight, Wemby, that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, and just I think we all have the KD comparison in mind. And like KD in his rookie year, he was just turning the ball over. Now, granted, he was playing shooting guard, which is
Yeah.
wild to think about now, but he was turning the ball over. He couldn't get into his shot like he'd want to. I don't think he had a big game like this for until his third, fourth year. Yeah, Wemby's already doing it now. Obviously, Wemby is a unicorn, the unicorn of unicorns. I've heard some comparisons, people trying to compare him to Bull, but there's a reason Bull is not like starting on any NBA team right now or on the Suns because he can't shoot and he doesn't have an 8 foot wingspan. Like that's
And not
crazy.
only that, I think like what gets lost is like it's not about like how tall you are or like
Mhm.
how long you are per se. It's like how you use that length and how you use that height.
No,
Like
yeah.
Bobo, like compared to Wembanyama, is very uncoordinated. Like
Yeah.
Wembanyama, like he makes gliding to the rim and like going for those putback dunks like really easy. Like
Mhm.
it's really hard. You can like with how long his arms are, he could easily catch them on like a flying defender if he's not cognizant of like, oh, like watch this guy boxing out or like having spatial awareness. Like Wembanyama already has those tangible, intangible things that
Mhm.
like you can't coach. And like you can tell he's like grew up playing basketball all his life pretty much. So like that's like the tangible differences I see from and like KD has the same thing. Like let's like wait, if you know he's gonna pull up from 18 feet all the time, why can't you just like stand at the 18-foot like jumper?
Yeah.
No, it's because he has more than that. He has like options. He already knows like what's his plan B at the speed of instinct, which is just wild because he's 19.
No, yeah. He is definitely a crazy product. But oh, one play, I don't know if it was this game. I'm like 80% sure of this game or the game before, but um, so I think he gets it lobbed up and he catches it like back to the rim and just catches it. He doesn't even fully catch it with his huge hand. He just kind of like
Right.
glides it into the rim off a lob.
It's very Jokic like, right? I think I
Yeah.
remember seeing that one. Like they like he and Jokic like he already has like as good a touch around the rim as Jokic. Just
Yeah.
like
Just soft
wild.
touch. I
Like
was. Uh
I think the one player he might struggle against going up is like maybe Jokic and maybe guys like Steven Adams,
Big
just
guys.
because
Yeah.
yeah, like big guys who know how to use their size and like are underrated with like lateral movement. Like, I
hmm
think he'll struggle against those guys because, like, just because he's so young, he's not used to, like, playing against that style big who's also skilled. So, like, that's gonna pose some threats to him. And maybe Zion, if Zion's healthy, because, like, Zion just has explosiveness you can't teach. Whereas,
hmm
like, I don't think Webonai is as explosive as Zion, but it's like splitting hairs there. Like, it's kind of like Zion has that special explosiveness, whereas, like, Webonai has it, and it's better than most NBA players.
hmm
So like those are maybe three guys I see him struggle against, but like on everybody else, it's a mismatch. Like I think the
Yeah.
game has become like, okay, you either have a unicorn or you don't. And like
Yeah.
the Spurs have one.
It's interesting. Oh, the one player I think that's definitely going to take advantage of him and is looking forward to that matchup is Joel Embiid. I feel like Joel
And
Embiid's
that's
always in.
like I don't know why it slipped my mind.
No, you're good, but he's always that guy. Not like trying to create beef, but he's always trying to like be that guy, and he
He'll toe the
kind of
line on like what's a technical foul and what's not for sure.
yeah, and he's going. I think he's gonna be looking for Wemby, but we'll see. We'll see in the future. But that matchup, I just looked it up, is January 22nd. If anyone wants to mark their calendars, I'm probably not, but I should. We'll see. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Some other stuff I saw, at least for the Suns, like I said, Devin Booker making good passes, but those guys just weren't making shots that night. I mean, Devin Booker is gonna find you, and he's gonna give you a good shot. So if you're not making it, cut, benched, whatever, you're getting punished somehow. Like Frank Vogel's got to do something. Like he's got to make sure these guys are making shots because Devin Booker is the guy on this team, and especially
He's
for
a good point
KD.
guard too. He's placing guys in good situations. Like
hmm
you normally when the shooting guard transitions to that role, you don't think so because he's like kind of
Yeah,
like score first mentality, but he's done a good job finding people.
yeah, and that's a big thing for I think the greatest players. I mean, good players can score for themselves whenever they want. Sure, that's cool.
Right.
But the great players are gonna score, and they're gonna realize when two guys are on them, when everyone is looking at them, dime to the right guy, and that's what Devin Booker is getting to, and that's kind of scary. I mean, he's still I don't think he's his prime at all yet. He's getting there, and he's maybe getting into it, but he's not there yet, and we'll see what happens. Could be interesting. Uh, yeah, and then oh, the other thing I had is there's a lot of Nurkic top of the key passing
Yeah.
that they kind of want to do because he can't shoot as well from three. So kind of having him as a hub up there kind of gives space to do other stuff around. So that's something I've noticed in this game, and I think in their first game against the Warriors.
Yeah, I saw that against the Warriors. Like he was setting a lot of screens like at the top of the
hmm
key, like either rolling or like creating actions off of that. Like if I'm the Suns, I would keep that because like
Oh, for sure.
one, you're play like Nurkic is good at doing that. Like he's another physical guy. Um, but and that I was just thinking of like the Wembanyama like going up against Nurkic. I think Wembanyama would be fine against him,
I
because
mean,
Nurkic isn't
his
he's
defense is
not it's not as
terrible.
strong as offensive skill set, right?
Yeah.
To make him pay. But like from like setting picks and like setting other guys, like he's a good passer, he's a good screen setter. Like he can initiate offenses that make the rotational guys a lot more valuable. So it's just a matter of like, okay, Devin Booker, next step. How do we get like shooting guard or shooting forward this guy here? How do we get him like to backdoor cut when we need to, or like space him out with like flare passes a lot better, a lot more efficiently? And you don't have to do that all the time because they got KD. So when in doubt, go
hmm
to KD. He can ISO still hit the 18-foot pull up jumpers. Like
Yeah. This.
he can still do that. But like you don't want to lean in on KD. You want like want a nice dose of KD, and then like get the other guys like engaged in the game, and then like as the game presses on, like more and more KD as like the possessions get tighter. Like you're just looking for your matchup. That's KD, and Devin Booker can do some of that too.
Yeah. Big thing, just chemistry with those role players. They're a lot of them are new. Grayson Allen, Nurkic, really. They
I
haven't
really like
done.
Okogie. I think Josh
Oh
Okogie's some
yeah,
key cog on that team.
yeah. He's been hitting his threes. I think that's the biggest thing. He actually has to be a
And
three, and
rebounding. Great
yep.
rebounder.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
Mavericks and Nuggets. What do you
Haha.
like? What you didn't like about your Mavs? What's going on here, Diego?
What I didn't like, it was really painful. I I will never say I dislike the Nuggets, but when you're playing them, you want all of them to just have the worst game of their lives. It is really tough.
Yeah.
Like they're I mean, granted, the Mavs are the worst team to play the Nuggets just because the Mavs have no size. Only one 7 foot plus player that was playing in this game. The offensive
Give that
rebounding,
Christian Wood. Just saying.
we did have Christian Wood, and now he's just playing on the Lakers. Easily
Yeah.
just an extra body for them, but whatever. I thought it was gonna work. I thought Christian Wood was gonna be great on our team, but no, it didn't end up that way, sadly. But whatever, we move on. Um, yeah, offensive rebounds, second chance points. One really frustrating play. Jokic had a sombor shuffle shot. He shot it on the right side, and he missed it. Like this was kind of in the fourth quarter, like kind of close game, within 10. Something could happen. Luca Magic and he misses that shot. Like in my head, I'm like, this is our chance. This is what a fast break right now. We can make a shot. We can get closer. But instead of getting the rebound, Luca kind of gets smacked by Aaron Gordon, and
Oh
he
my
gets the
goodness.
rebound, or someone else gets the rebound. A Nugget gets the rebound, and I just am sitting there like, dang, that hurt. And then next possession down, same exact shot for Jokic, and he just makes it. Like he's unguardable. Like there's nothing you can do against him. And the worst part was in the third quarter, or the Mavericks kind of come back, and going into the fourth, beginning of the fourth, they still have that momentum. But uh, Michael Malone, he just keeps Jokic out for a while because he knows no matter how close the Mavs get, he can just put Jokic back in, and it's not gonna matter. And that's what happened. There's world beaters. They are for sure the best team in the league right now. And I think the only way you can beat him is size. And I don't know. I think we said it last week. That's the only team they've lost to is the Timberwolves, the team with two big centers that can kind of
Right.
throw bodies at him. So and also Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon is just huge, and he makes his
Yeah.
threes.
And he's become like I've said this from like the NBA finals and the playoffs. Like I think you have to put him there as like one of the best defensive stoppers in the NBA. I think he's earned that title like as recently as last year's playoffs. But back to your point on like how to beat the Nuggets, I almost feel like you have to outscore them too
hmm
because it seems like they throw up like 70 like in a half
Yeah.
like anytime they want to. Like even in this game, I think it was what 70 to 55 or something like that.
Yes, it was like
Like
70 or
that's
80.
like the Mavericks are scoring more than 50 points in the half. That's good. That's really good. But like it's just like how do you stop like the Nuggets because they're just so efficient.
hmm
And like I think the key thing to look at this is like the turnovers. The turnovers were like um a key factor that for the Nuggets you want to correct.
Yeah.
And I mean, sorry, not the Nuggets, the Mavericks. I meant the Mavericks.
Okay.
And it wasn't as bad so far this season for the Mavericks, but those things matter against the teams like the Nuggets. You
Oh
don't
yeah.
want to put yourself like in a situation where you're constantly turning it over when they're this efficient. You want to take time off the clock and get into your sets. Make sure you're shooting it under 10 seconds, but with a good quality shot so you're in rhythm. Like that's really hard stuff to do. You almost have to play perfect against this team.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
when Jokic is going 14 of 16 from the field, like there's no answer. There's absolutely no answer. So
there's nothing you can do.
yeah, and Porter went off, Murray went off, like all these guys went double digits. I think Murray had 13 assists too. When
Oh yeah.
Murray's having more than 10 assists, then that's how you know like it's almost impossible to stop because now it's just not Murray trying to win it on his because Murray can do that,
Hmm.
but it's not advisable when you have a guy like Jokic and when he's getting when Murray's getting 13 assists on top of that, that means other guys are like contributing to the Denver Avalanche.
Yeah, no, it's a team. They play a team game, and it is tough to stop. There's
Definitely.
almost no way, especially just Jokic. I mean, Jokic in and of himself is a world beater, and he's almost unstoppable. I don't know how anyone could think anyone else is gonna be coming out of the West right now, unless something drastic happens to this team in a negative way. But Christian Braun still doing his thing. I think Peyton Watson, I think that's his name. That the rookie we talked about him last week. He had a nice block on someone, maybe Kyrie, but it's just tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
I was not excited to watch this game. I was hoping for the best.
Mavericks, like I'm looking at the stats here, they also shot well from three too. So it
Hmm.
wasn't the 3 pointer wasn't a problem at all. Like both teams, 41% combined, 30 3 pointers like made in total. Three
Yeah,
point that's really good. Like that's a really good stat out of both teams, really. But like the 3 pointers weren't the problem. I feel like it's just like,
turnovers, offensive
and then how do
rebounds.
you stop Jokic? Like the
Yeah,
you mentioned it. It's you're gonna have to they're gonna have to figure out something like
hmm,
whether move or like whether schematic change like. Is it like changing zones or something like that per possession? Like that's a really difficult ask. Like except
yeah,
that you gotta be creative against the Nuggets.
I know. And just one point, and I saw this yesterday in the Mavs Magic game. Is just like Luca. Luca is one of the best players on in this league on this earth right now. But I
But
don't know if I can get behind him just like holding the ball, doing all the Luca moves that are amazing. I mean, he can make a game-winning shot. But I don't know if I just want that to be a regular offense. Is him ISO, do his thing,
it's
and
not
then get
efficient.
up a shot. Yeah,
It's
like
really inefficient to ask Luca to do that all the time because like here's what playoff teams are gonna think like when he does that. Okay, fine, Luca. Won the game for us. We are going to make you work on the defensive end
yeah.
every single possession somehow. Whether you have to communicate on screens, whether you have to like ISO on somebody, even if you're become a good defender somehow, you're going to waste your energy on the offensive end, dribbling all the time down to like 10 seconds or less.
Hmm.
And then we are going to make you sweat it out like for 20 seconds or more on the defensive end. And by the time it hits the third quarter, he's going to be gassed. So like
Yeah.
it's not recommended that Luca plays that way. Like he can do it, which is crazy because like I mean any professional athlete can like withstand that
Yeah.
conditioning.
Hmm.
But like you're not going to be as effective going late in the third quarter, fourth quarter, like playing that way.
Yeah, I just, me personally, I like a more team-oriented game. Beautiful game,
Yeah,
Spurs, 2015 Hawks. I want everyone making decisions. I mean,
man,
also
that's the
2015
gold
Warriors.
standard, dude. That is
That
that's the
is,
gold standard.
and clearly, I know like Luca Harden comparison, kind of, those are kind of intertwined, and it's just, I don't, I personally don't like it. But obviously, I have no like I can't call up Jason Kidd and tell him let's not do this. And
Yeah,
obviously, Luca, I feel like wants this, so. We'll see. I mean, he
it's a tough
he's
it's a
only in his
tough
fifth
ask too
year.
because like kid wasn't at this game too, so it was like how
Yeah,
much of it.
that's also true.
Oh, the coaching would have helped like in that game versus like
Hmm.
oh the Mavericks don't have the personnel. Like
Yeah.
that's going against the defending champions like within the first week of the season is not easy.
So thankful for all the other games because we've been
Yeah,
playing some not good teams.
right.
Had a back to back with the Hornets and Magic Sunday and today or yesterday, and
Mhm.
we ended up winning both. So that's nice. But yeah, I
There you
think
go. A
that's all I
little
got.
bounce back for your Mavs. I'll let you off the hook now. Um,
Ooh.
Clippers next. James Harden's debut didn't go as planned. Um, I don't know why it needed to be said, but Tyronn Lue apparently had to reemphasize that Kawhi Leonard's the best player on the team. I don't think anybody's gonna dispute
Yeah.
that. As star-studded as the Clippers are,
Mhm.
um, it's tough. Although at the point of halftime, Leonard had taken 6 shots, and Harden attempted all of his shots in the second quarter.
Yeah.
Paul George taken 7, and I think Russell Westbrook took 7. It's a good distribution, so you like to see that, but it's more like we had talked about it with KD. How much are we going to be using
Mhm.
Kawhi Leonard, because he's another guy that we can just get the ball to whenever and however we want,
Yeah.
and like it's just, it's just another thing. They're another team where you got to work out how do we make everybody happy. There's only one ball, in a situation like that. But what did you see from Harden's debut? What takeaways do you have?
Yeah, so just getting a little bit of a look on the first quarter. I One big thing I realized that I liked was just James Harden and anyone pick and roll. Big thing, James Harden and Zubats, 2 straight possessions where they just scream with Zubats. James Harden gets a little opening, pass, boom, almost Megs Mitchell Robinson. Like Zubac's gonna be served up. I don't think he's had this kind of playmaking. I mean, Russell Westbrook, regional playmaker, Kawhi, PG, they'll make the easy passes, but this guy Harden, he's gonna make any pass and he's gonna make it perfectly. So that,
And that matters for a guy like Zubac because he's not
mhm,
getting like earlier, he'll probably get post ups or he'll get the occasional pick and rolls. But
yeah,
now his it's a common staple with Harden. Pair
hmm,
him with Embiid, pair him with Capella. He's gonna make them a lot better than they actually are, and that's really good thing for the Clippers offense.
no, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think the commentator actually said that this is probably the most touches he's seen in like a first quarter in all his life,
Oh my goodness.
and that's good for Zubats. I mean, just spreading the ball around and definitely interesting. One one interesting play I saw was it's basically kind of a how'd it go? So Russ brings the ball up, then Zubac sets a screen. So Russ is looking at them setting the screen, and so Harden goes to the right of Westbrook. Uh, Russ makes the pass, and then he cuts into like the left block, and
Who's
then him
cutting?
and
Westbrook?
Zubac. Oh yeah, Westbrook. So
Okay.
then him and Zubac then set like 2 kind of alternating screens. Like Kawhi Leonard in left corner can decide. Right, he takes Zubac's screen. Left on the baseline, he can take Russell Westbrook's screen, and
Okay.
he takes Zubac's screen, kind of pulls back towards the 3, gets the ball, and a wide open shot.
Wow.
This is really nice offense, and
Yeah.
uh, that's something that could really be implemented. And the funny thing is, I actually saw it on like a b-ball breakdown video like
Love
the
that
night
channel.
before. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that channel. If you if you don't know anything about basketball, you just watch that channel for like 3 weeks. You're gonna be talking about Spain pick and roll, talking about like anything. You're just gonna know so much more, and it really gets you kind of like it helped me kind of see basketball more as a puzzle. Like
Right.
kind of you're solving the Rubik's cube of this defense of how to stretch and bend a defense to make to get an open shot. So that's just shout out to B-ball breakdown. I love that channel. So uh, oh yeah, we're talking about the Clippers.
No, we're talking about how Kawhi got open, right?
Yeah, Kawhi
And
was wide open. He bricked the shot. That was their first shot, I think. But it's a nice play. It's interesting.
yeah, it's kind of occasionally I see that from Kawhi. He'll sometimes wide open, he might miss a couple, but it's very rare. Normally he's
Yeah.
money, and he prefers to get it off the dribble, kind of give him a couple dribbles to maneuver and create a little bit of deception, and then he'll get a nice shot. But that's what you want to see out of your star players, creating open looks, being
Hmm.
unselfish, and I think the Harden to Zubac thing is really underrated now because
Yeah.
now in case Zubac is if they try to take that away, you got a cutting Westbrook or you got Westbrook who can just be anywhere and everywhere now. Like less eyes on Westbrook, more eyes on Harden and Zubac is what I'm trying to say, and that allows Westbrook to kind of get those hustle stats, and then Kawhi and Paul George, you're not leaving them for the 3-point line at all ever. If you are, you're crazy. But
Yeah.
just in case you shut that down, now it's just oh, here you go, Kawhi. Try and solve this Rubik's cube. Here you go, Paul George. Try and make something happen. Like it's we talk about it with the Bucks trying to figure that out. Like,
Hmm.
and the Clippers will probably figure this out a lot faster,
Yeah.
um, just because of like the different things that Harden can bring.
Hmm.
But that's what makes the Clippers hard to stop. It's not that like they have like all these former MVPs like on the
Yeah.
same team. It's like the different types of skill set each one of them bring is gonna stress the defense out like no other.
No, yeah, it's interesting. And another thing I saw is that they had Harden kind of with the bench group, and that's I think it's perfect for him, just because he obviously wants the ball, right? If
Right.
if he needs the ball in his hands, putting him around lesser players, because obviously the bench, he can make them better, and that's definitely interesting. This is the guy, as we said last week, is the was the assist leader last year, so
Yeah.
this is gonna really help a team that the biggest problem they've had for 4 years is they haven't had a true point guard. Reggie Jackson, point guard, not that good. Uh, I don't know who else. I mean, Bones Highland was there. Is there? He was kind of. He actually made a nice shot on quickly, which was interesting because they kind of look similar. They both had like the dreads going on, so they're kind of. It was interesting. But yeah, no, Harden with the bench mob could be something. So we'll see. We'll see about that. Uh, on the Knicks, just slight Knicks talk. Surprising they won because Randall and Jalen Brunson both had bad nights. So that's a big thing for
Yeah.
them.
You're talking
Winning
so
the
much about the
Knicks.
Clippers, we almost forgot the Knicks won the game.
Yeah, the Knicks. So I was joking around with my roommates after like, oh, I guess James Harden's about to leave LA to go somewhere else now that they lost the first game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he'll be there for at the least I hope a season. We'll see.
One more note on like the different types of actions, I guess. I think what you're looking for is like the flex offense where like Leonard gives like different types of screens. Like we had talked
Mhm.
about it where he takes Zubac or he takes like Westbrook. Then you got the George and Westbrook pick and roll with like Zubac in the dunker spot. That's like something that they'll have chemistry from last year running.
Yeah.
Westbrook and Zubac can do their pick and rolls. Then you talked about the Spain stack pick and rolls with like Westbrook and then
Hmm.
like Judge, Paul George setting back screens. Like apparently they want to use Paul George more as like a back screener kind of thing in this offense where they have like
Okay.
multiple guys. Like he can do it. Um, it's just a matter of like, okay, how much are you going to be doing that relative? Like, oh, Paul George, ISO, give me something, and then like Paul George can actually hit like catch and threes pretty nicely too. Might be one
Hmm.
of the best like in that lineup at shooting catch and shoot threes. So
Yeah.
um, it'll be interesting to see how well they play on. So I love the unselfish actions, like how many different actions they have to use. That's going to be very difficult to stop. Where they have like 5 combinations like rolled out like that. We'll
Hmm.
see how many they're able to put together. But overall, great game. I want to overall story. I think here is not to panic on the Clippers' performance in the first game. It's still way too early.
Yeah, they have time. They got a whole season to figure it out.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it
Yep.
goes.
All right. We I briefly talked about this. Brooklyn Nets. Chicago Bulls. I felt good about this going into this game. Cam Thomas went 6 for 18, so I'm like, okay, we don't have to worry about him, but we did have to worry about Dorian Finney-Smith, your former Mavs.
Yes,
He
sir.
was seemingly like taking Vucevic's lunch bag the
That's crazy.
entire game, and I was just like, please, like Vucevic, do something. And Mikal Bridges had a nice night. He had a couple of nice back screens, and then also like I'm losing the word for it. He'd had some nice cuts, corner
Okay.
cuts too. That adds to him. So like Finney Smith led the Nets in scoring with 21.
Wow.
Mikal Bridges with 20. Yeah, I know, right? You wouldn't expect that.
Yeah.
Cam Thomas did add 17 points, but very inefficient, like I mentioned.
Hmm.
Um, and Bulls had a shot to win it. Zach LaVine took like a 3 or a 2 to kind of win it, but rimmed out. So tough. But yeah, for I guess the one thing to notice was the red court. That definitely surprised me.
Yeah.
Um, Finney Smith nailing 5 3-pointers surprised me a lot. Um, and like DeRozan and Levine, we keep talking about it. They're scoring fine individually, scoring 20, 24 points each. Kobe White had a nice game, 18 points. Vucevic, 13 points and 13 rebounds. Um, I think this is like a nip and tuck game. It's a tough. tough environment like in that space, but we were at home. We had a chance. We just like as the Bulls, we need to get stops.
Yeah, no, definitely. Vooch, like you're saying. I mean, Vooch has never been a defensive center, but like playing against I don't even think he's 6'10", but 6'7", 6'8", Dorian Finney-Smith, who's kind of skinny. Uh, like at least in the paint, he's gotta not get his lunch money taken, like you were saying.
Yeah, it's rough. Let's move out of the game. I don't want to talk about it any longer.
Let's
We're
move
close,
on.
but like all Chicago Bulls games didn't go the way I wanted. Um,
Yeah.
all right, we need to talk more about Anthony Edwards. Like what he's doing is like absolutely ridiculous. We talked about him against what he's doing against the Celtics,
Hmm.
and in fact, like I think what's more impressive is how he's willing to guard Jason Tatum with 5 fouls, lock him down, and
Wow.
then like go ahead and like take off an OT. It's very like Jimmy Butler esque,
Hmm.
like how he ended Kawhi Leonard, like how he ended this up, and then he had a couple bad shooting decisions in the fourth quarter, but because passing was really nice, and like in OT he contributed like 8 of the Wolves' 13 points, and
Oh man.
like that's a lot to ask. I think the most impressive thing is like how he locked up Jason Tatum despite having 5 fouls, because that's really hard to do.
No, definitely. I mean, he's also giving up size to Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum is a solid 6'10", I think, and
Right.
Ant is like 6'5", 6'6". So you're already down a little bit, but especially that's a dedication to just being, or no, it's not dedication. It's oh, there's a word. It's just
Commitment to defense.
commitment, kind of, yeah, just being
Do you know what he
diligent
told
at
Tatum? He said, "I play defense. I just got 5 fouls." Like, like, it's just crazy. Like he's but basically what is saying by that is like, hey, you can attack me all time. I'm just telling you, I play defense. I'm still gonna lock you even if I got 5 fouls, and
No, it's
that's confidence,
respectable.
man.
I like that
It's
because, like, I mean, we've talked about it before, and everyone talks about it. We're in an offensive league, offensive time of this whole like history, and so seeing players want to play defense, taking pride on defense, I think is big and really important. Especially this guy is their guy on offense. Him saying that is huge.
right.
That's a big thing, a big like character thing. Not a lot of young guys are gonna say that. He was drafted, I think, in 2021. So he's or 2020. No, I think 2021. So this is just his like third year. He is doing his thing, and we saw what he did in the Olympics. He was the guy on a team of a lot of other good players, young, but still good players. He is he is something, and he's very interesting. I'm excited to see what he does this season. He's gonna be a big reason why the Timberwolves can be a good team this year.
Yeah. Over the 6 game start, he's got the highest scoring
Really,
start in team history at 28.2 a game, and then his true shooting percentage is 62.2%.
that is fire.
um, yeah. Don't mean to spend it any longer, but I think he's a top 10 player in the NBA. Shouldn't be a debate about it.
Yeah, we should make a list. That could be a move. One
Yeah.
episode, just make a list and we'll debate. I'm
I mean,
interested.
yeah, we could do it maybe next week. By then, we got enough games where we can just say, "Oh, here's our top 10," and then update it as the season goes along. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Um, I know we talked about this a little bit, but quick snapshot: are you worried about James Harden's poor start with the Clippers?
Nope.
Me
Just
neither.
one game. I don't know. It's hard for such a small sample size, and also this early in the season. If this had been a trade deadline, I think that's the biggest thing. If this had been a trade deadline trade right at the last minute, then you'd be worried because the Clippers are in a moment now where they need to win. They're unveiling their new stadium for next year. They need to at least be serviceable. They need to be getting into the playoffs, making some noise, and hoping that Kawhi and Paul George don't get injured. So there's a lot riding on this, and I think they have pressure, but they can figure it out, and we don't have to worry yet. All Star break comes around, they're still not where they should be. Then we can consider some worrying.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my only worry is if this continues in the playoffs. Like occasionally in the playoffs, like James Harden's been notorious for having like bad shooting performances.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, it's fine to have this early in the season, but how is it going to grow for it from it like as the offense like progresses? Um, I guess my worry with him is how much of the athletic ability he has to like get by defenders at this
Hmm.
stage of his career. If teams are like, okay, we know Kawhi can get to a spot whenever he wants. We know Paul George can get to a spot whenever he wants. Like, we know Russell Westbrook still has explosiveness,
Yeah,
and we don't want Zubac getting into the paint like close. We'll just let Harden like beat us one on one and like see if he can take us off the dribble to the cup like he used to do. Because we think he's lost a step based on evidence and him playing on the 76ers. So I want to see him in those kind of scenarios where he's like forced to take it to the cup,
hmm,
finish contested layups, or beat people with quickness, and see if he still has that or like some types of moves in his bag to be able to mitigate that. That's the
yeah,
one thing I want to see from him.
yeah.
If he still has it, then watch out.
Just show that he's one of those players that kind of ages a bit more like fine wine and not I don't know like some cheese in the fridge. Like 2 weeks go by, you're
Right.
not eating it, it turns green. Oh, it's like the joke like does he have the sauce or does he have the juice?
Oh
Yeah,
no.
we'll see. That's
Yeah.
that's the fun part. So we'll see how
Right.
that ends up.
All
Yeah.
right. A last quick snippet for you, just in case we haven't given enough flowers enough. Victor Wembanyama is him. Explain.
He is crazy. I mean, I'm not gonna. Oof, God, sorry. Rudy Gobert catch lob with one hand way over the rim. Um, yes, making those kind of shots, making that big of an impact in the fourth quarter of a regular season game, but second game playing the same team at their home, showing them who's boss. He is that. I don't know if I could have even shot that three like wide open. I don't know if I could have shot like got the pass and shot that in that moment. The kind of
Yeah.
pressure there, no matter what it is, no matter what kind of shot it was, he was ready for the moment. He shot it and he drained it. He drilled it. That is crazy from a 19-year-old. I everyone's talking about his potential, but even if he stays where he is now, he's still a great NBA player.
Right.
Not a lot of guys are dropping 38 points. I think that was like the second highest uh scoring performance for like a rookie in Spurs history. And David
Yeah.
Robinson had like 3 of the other 4
Yeah.
of the top 4. So
Hey,
that's
if you're in
wild.
company with David Robinson, that's like
It's Hall of Famer.
you're probably doing some things right there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't have too much to add. Like obviously we both in love with his potential 2 to 3 years from now, like
Mhm.
based when he gets more acclimated to the league. But yeah, like even against the four guys we talked about that we think he would struggle against,
Yeah.
like he's still gonna put up 20 points, I think,
Mhm.
like in his sleep. And like he's like one of those unicorns where like what he's showing us right now is he can do everything on
Mhm.
the offensive and defensive end pretty much. I think the one thing we gotta see from him defensively is, and it's a little bit unfair to him at his size, is like, oh, can he keep up like lateral quickness against
Mhm.
like obviously Steph Curry, Dame Lillard?
Oh god,
Like,
yeah.
can he at least like get in the area code? Because like once he's in the area code, like we've seen he can block 3 pointers like nobody's business. And it
Yeah.
doesn't even look like it's a clean block. It's kind of just like, ah, floats in the air after he tips it, but
Yeah.
you could tell the trajectory that it got blocked. Um, and that's an unfair ask for like 99% of NBA defenders that go against Steph Curry and Dame Lillard
Mhm.
because like they just need like a centimeter of room and they got a made 3 pointer instantly.
Yep.
But if Wembanyama can show that, like he can be the best player in the league as far as 2 seasons from now.
No,
And that
yeah.
is saying a lot with the amount of like MVP candidates and guys that we think could have been like hmm, better than LeBron over the season, like Giannis, like
Mhm.
Jokic, like Durant, like Wembanyama could be better than all of them.
Yeah.
Like KD after these 2 games said, "Stop comparing Victor Wembanyama to me."
Yeah.
And this is the same KD who's like, "Oh, you know who I am? I'm Kevin
Yeah.
Durant." This man said that Victor Wembanyama is his own player. He's different. He's never seen anything like it in the league, and he's gonna have like an. You don't hear future Hall of Famers state that.
Mm.
Like that is like. you got to pay attention when KD says stuff like that. Just
Yeah.
saying.
That's a big thing. I mean, you usually hear the young players say, "Oh, I'm not just that guy. I'm my own person."
Right.
But the guy they're comparing him to say that he is his own guy. He is going to be amazing in his own right. That's big.
Right.
That's exciting.
Especially with Pop nurturing him. Like,
Mhm.
I don't think Pop's going anywhere anytime soon. And I'm just okay. I'm just gonna be in awe about Victor Wembanyama the rest of the night. You have a
Yeah.
good night watching
Yeah,
the rest of the
thanks.
Timberwolves and the Mavs. Or no, they're not
Celtic.
facing the Mavs. They're facing the Celtics. Oh, you're watching the Anthony Edwards game where he went off.
Yeah.
I don't know
Thank
what I was
God.
thinking.
No, you're
All
good.
right. Um, thanks for hopping on, Diego.
Wait.
Yep,
Follow us. Wait.
yep, you got it. I think I got it here.
Yeah.
I can get my finger right.
Please,
There we
please
go.
follow us.
We're still working out this YouTube thing, but follow us on our IG. I'm on.a.mission. If you have any comments, any questions, any topics you want to see on the next episode, we're gonna keep like expressing our love for Victor Wembanyama. If not, but catch you later, Diego.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Peace out.